Now we know that actually what are the ideal gases, right? You know that ideal gas is something which obey all the laws at all condition of temperature and pressure. And I also told you that the gases which we like see in a daily routine that are called real gases, they don't actually obey all those laws at all condition of temperature and pressure. There exists a specific condition when they behave. Now the question is that why real gases do not behave ideally at all condition of temperature or pressure, or what is actually the behavior of the real gas. So this I am going to explain you on the basis of graph. As you all know that from ideal gas we know that like for a gas to behave ideally it has to satisfy this equation, PV is equal to nRT. If I make n constant, R constant, T constant, so that means my PV value is constant. Right, I am like for ideal gas obviously PV is constant. So now I am going to show you that how the real gases deviate from an ideal gas. So in this figure we are going to plot PV against P. So this is my PV and this is my P. As you know that PV is constant, so whether you change the condition of temperature, pressure, R, N, anything, PV value does not change, it should remain same. This is what I have indicated with this black line, that this is my ideal gas and PV value for it is obviously going to remain constant whether you increase the pressure, whether you decrease the pressure, whether you increase or decrease any condition, right. So here as we are focusing on the pressure, so we will talk just for the pressure. So when I am increasing the pressure or I am decreasing the pressure, it is not affecting my PV value because PV for an ideal gas is constant, so obviously we have a straight line. So this straight line is indicating the behavior of the ideal gas. Now talking about the real gases, if the real gas possess the same character, same properties as that of ideal gas, so that means it should also possess it should also show a straight line. But I have few gases, see how they are behaving. For hydrogen, PV value increase with increase in pressure, as you can see this steep line. For helium again it increased, but the increase is not 2 as in case of hydrogen we can see. For carbon monoxide it first decreases and then show a marked increase. Same for CH4, that it decreases to a large extent and then show an increase. So that means real gases are not obeying the same thing as the ideal gas is doing, right. And this is clear from the graph. So, but we have a certain point where they are actually coinciding, and that point is that when the pressure is 0. As you can see, they all are originating from the same point. So that means when the pressure is 0, I will write here, when the pressure is 0 bar, real gases are somewhat showing an ideal behavior. They are actually coinciding with that point is coinciding, that means they are behaving ideally. Second figure, we are just going to prove the same thing from this figure. In this I have a plot between the P and the V, right. For an ideal gas we know that the P versus P and V are inversely proportional. So we have this black line indicating the behavior for the ideal gas. And if I draw a same thing, a same plot for P and V for the real gas, you can see it is indicated by this green line that this is for the real gas. And as it is clear that the two lines are not coinciding with each other, because if real gas behave ideally, the line should coincide, right, but it does not actually coincide. You can see a gap between that, but they are somehow near to each other when there is low pressure. As you can see, they are almost near to each other when the pressure is lowered. So that means real gases, this is almost clear that real gases do not behave ideally, right. Now the question is that why real gases deviate from the behavior of the ideal gas, or why they are not similar to the ideal gas, because there must be some you can say a perfect reason for that why these gases are showing certain kind of you can say the difference in the properties, right. So what is that? The reason behind that is the two faulty assumptions which we consider in case of a hypothetical ideal gas case. And what are those two conditions? One is that we have already discussed also. One is that ideal gas actually consider that there are no intermolecular forces that is existing between the gas particles. So this is actually like ideal gas is taking into account no intermolecular force of attraction between the molecules. And second is that it says that the volume occupied by the gas molecule or is almost nil, or you can say is just a zero volume as compared to the total volume occupied by the total gas. So ideal gas actually take into account these two facts, but actually these are not obeyed by the real gas, because when we talk in real, we know that the forces exist. The forces might be low in strength, but still they exist, and likewise the volume cannot be always neglected. Suppose, I'll just explain you this. Suppose I have this big container, so in this case I can neglect the volume for one gas molecules, but if I have the same gas molecules in such a small container, so can I neglect the volume in this case? No, we can't, because we have to see that like when the jar is big, the volume occupied by the gas is more. At that time you can just neglect it, but not every time, because you may compress the gas into a very small volume. Then at that time you need to consider the volume of the individual gas particle also. But so this is the main reason that why the real gases deviate from an ideal behavior. So two faulty assumptions. First, no intermolecular force of attraction according to ideal gas, right? Second is volume occupied by the gas molecule is actually nil, right? So these are the two conditions. Now, as I told you that real gases deviate from the behavior, but actually they also show that kind of behavior at certain condition, and that condition is, we are just going to look for that condition, that what is that specific condition when the real gases are going to behave ideally. Right, so what I am going to have is here, say we have a balloon again, we have gas particles here, we know that gas particles are moving, they are always in random motion, they are not at rest. So what we are doing is, we are increasing the temperature. Let's say we increase the temperature. So when we increase the temperature, the particles will gain thermal energy and they will somehow start moving in the different directions with the higher velocity, right, higher speed, or you can say higher kinetic energy, whatever term you can use actually. So they start moving randomly in different directions. Right, so when they move, when they possess high thermal energy, they are moving apart, they are just trying their effort, maximum effort to keep them apart. So that means that time we can say that intermolecular force actually gets lowered or it's get nil. So this means at higher temperature we can satisfy this condition. Right, at higher temperature the real gases can satisfy this no intermolecular force type condition, because at that time the particles will be moving in different directions, they will be moving maximum apart, and we say that at that time intermolecular force can be zero in them. Right. Second, let us lower the pressure, and this pressure is obviously external pressure, keep in mind, right. So we are just lowering the pressure, external pressure. I am not applying much pressure from outside. I am not applying much pressure from outside. So that means because when we apply a pressure from outside to a balloon, you know that the balloon gets squeezed and the gas molecules just try to come closer, and obviously the intermolecular force will increase, right. So I am not applying such kind of pressure. I am not applying such kind of pressure. So that means I am not forcing the gas molecules to come closer, and when they are not coming closer, so obviously intermolecular forces are almost, again this condition is satisfied, that intermolecular force is somehow lowered only, right. Second is the volume condition also, this will be also satisfied when we lower the external pressure. When we lower the external pressure, when the pressure is low, we know the volume is maximum, right. So when the volume is more, so at that time you can actually neglect the volume of one gas molecule as compared to the total volume, right. So because when we'll be, suppose I have a balloon and I am just trying to, I am applying a pressure from my outside, it will get squeezed, so it will just, the volume will get low. So at that time you cannot neglect the volume for a gas molecules, because a condition may arise when the gas balloon is squeezed to an extent where the volume gets decreased so much and the volume of gas molecule cannot be neglected, right. But if we decrease the pressure or we increase the temperature, at that time the volume of an individual gas molecule obviously can be neglected. So that means these are the conditions, that is the higher temperature and lower pressure, the real gases can behave ideally, they can actually behave ideally. Now we are like I have already told you that what is it, why the real gases are not showing that kind of behavior, and when they are going to show that kind of behavior, you know that. Now the like if we talk about all real gases like hydrogen, carbon monoxide, methane, any of the real gas. So obviously they are going to behave ideally at high temperature and low pressure, but there is no certain fixed temperature or there is no certain fixed pressure at which they are going to behave ideally, right? Because for some gas, the value, obviously the temperature is going to be high, but let's say that for some gases at 1000 Kelvin it behave ideally, and for other gas at 800 Kelvin it behave ideally. So it just depends upon the nature of the gas, that at what higher temperature or at what lower temperature it is going to behave ideally, right? So it is not, we don't have any fixed, you can say a fixed point at which it will, it's not like that I'll say that at 200 Kelvin every gas is going to behave ideally. No, it's not like that. We cannot decide that range, right? Obviously the temperature is going to be high and pressure is going to be low, but we cannot decide the particular point, particular pressure or a particular temperature point, right? So you need to keep in mind it totally depends upon the nature of the gas. And you know that temperature at which the real gas start behaving ideally, and that temperature actually corresponds to the Boyle's point. So if somebody asks you about Boyle's point, so simple to answer that it is just a temperature, obviously in high temperature, a temperature when the real gas start behaving ideally, and that temperature is something called as Boyle's point or Boyle's temperature. You can call it by either name, right? So this is what we have assumed, sorry, not assumed, we have proved actually. We have proved for the real gases. One is that they are not always showing an ideal behavior at all condition of temperature and pressure. Second, they will show that when we are able to achieve zero intermolecular force and zero contribution of the volume of one gas molecule as compared to the total volume. Third, they are obviously obeying the ideal, behaving ideally at high temperature and low pressure. This temperature range, fourth, this temperature range is different for different gas, so it depends upon the nature of gas. Last is that the temperature at which it is going to behave ideally, the real gas, that is going to be a specific temperature, and that will be something Boyle's point or Boyle's temperature. So this is what is the equation. So as we have already studied that the intermolecular forces are not always nil, the volume is volume is not always neglected, so we have to make a certain change in our kinetic gas equation, right? So earlier it was PV is equal to nRT, ideal gas equation was PV is equal to nRT, so we need to change certain kind of thing in order to make it applicable to the real gases also. So just look.